That's right. You're looking at beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama. As everybody is ready for the matchup you cannot take your eyes off of, it's coming up today. Georgia versus Bama, the early season battle of the century that we're getting. It's countdown to college game day, presented by Coke Zero. Christine Williamson, I'm Jason Fitz. And look, the couch got more pillows, and I'm just like, Christine, I'm just going to be transparent here. I love me some throw pillows, and they put more of them here. So I'm just, like, they're telling me I'm supposed to take one off. Fine. But, you know, I'm just saying it's comfortable. I'm getting ready because it's a day of big college football action.
You're all snugged up with your Thrillos, and it is a big day of college football action. I'm just going to drop that word in here.
Thrillos. We decided
Thrillos,
that. All right.
Just combine it.
Now you're giving away my great idea. We own Thrillos. Don't take it. The other thing we own on this show is getting energy for you right at the beginning, and we do that with a little fun that we like to call the top. And Christine, I'm putting 40 seconds on the clock.
Yeah.
This is where you can get anything off your chest. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
On your mark, get set, go!
Okay, here's the thing. It's been a rough week with college football and COVID, but if you're not a Tulsa fan, it could be so much worse. I'm just going to give you a quick rundown of an idea of how difficult this season has been for the Golden Hurricanes. This has been their slate of games. On September 5th versus Toledo, that was canceled. September 12th versus Oklahoma State was postponed a week. September 19th against Northwestern State was canceled. The 26th game against Arkansas State postponed. October 3rd, their game against UCF went off as planned. They won, by the way. And now their game today against Cincinnati has been postponed. I mean, how can you even get in a rhythm when you haven't played any football?
She got sneaky there and put a big graphic up so we didn't see the clock hit zero. We'll still let it happen.
That was exactly 40 seconds. Don't worry about it.
Sure. We'll go with that. All right, my turn. You ready for this? All right, give me 40 seconds on the clock.
40 seconds on the clock. Your time starts now.
All right, speaking of COVID, let's continue the COVID conversation. And now I'm talking to you, SEC schools. My God, we've got Ed Orgeron earlier saying, the whole team's got it. You got Eli Drinkwitz saying, it's the Wild West out here. You got Dan Mullen saying, we want the swamp full, only a day before they turn around and say, my bad, we're not going to play this game at all right now. We're just going to hold off. At this point, the SEC is threatening to fine schools up to $1 million. That's right, $1 million. It's $100,000 for the first fine, $200 for the next, $400 for the one after that. Why do they have to have so many different levels of fines? Because they know everybody's trying to get away with something. At this point, can we just start following the rules? And I just want to see the SEC get through an entire season.
It's been insane. I mean, we expected this, but it's been a little out of control.
Well, it has been a little out of control, and we got a lot of football to get to. We're not going to let COVID overrun the conversation, but it's important, Christine, that we start with a little bit of a mindset over the postponements that we're seeing today. Yet another Saturday means more games that aren't going to go off, and you just mentioned one of them. But at this point, we are looking at 6 games postponed, including 3 teams that are in the top 10. We mentioned Florida. I mentioned a second ago. They're not going to be playing. Obviously, Cincinnati not going to be playing. Yes, Cincinnati's the top 10 team if you haven't been paying attention. And Oklahoma State also not playing today against Baylor. So 3 top 10 teams unexpectedly get the weekend off to sit back, eat some snacks, and watch some college football because, frankly, those games aren't happening. All right, it's the game of the week. Everybody's got all eyes on it. I got 2 experts that are going to help me break it down as they do every week. Desmond Howard, Jim Mora. Guys, Alabama, Georgia, this is where all eyes are going to be. So, Coach, let me ask you a tough question here. I got #1 defense versus #1 offense in all the land. If you as a coach could pick in a matchup like that, top defense, top offense, which one you want?
Whew. Man, that's like the impossible question, okay? I'm a defensive coach by nature. But I'd say offense. I mean, Alabama's offense is so special. And they can have, let's say they can have 70 average plays in the game and have 5 great ones and score 5 touchdowns, and then they win. And their ability on offense with Mac Jones and the way he's making decisions, the way he's protecting the football, and the way he's getting the ball to those amazing playmakers, Waddle, Smith, Mechie. Look at Waddle is at 20.8 yards per catch. Mechie's at 27.1, and then he's got Najee to hand it to. So I'm just giving the offense the advantage here. One or two breakdowns on defense in your history?
Yeah, I'm not even going to ask the former wide receiver how he goes in a battle of offense. I'm just saying this. But I think it's funny. We all got to work together yesterday on College Football Live. And, Des, you were pointing out how much talent there is at the wide receiver position for Alabama. Like, what has changed that all of a sudden Alabama is wide receiver you?
Yeah, I tell you what, guys. I think that you have to go back to when Lane Kiffin got there. Don't forget, I think when Lane Kiffin got to Tuscaloosa, I believe that's when the offense started to change. That's when Nick Saban became more open-minded to opening up the offense, throwing the ball around, not lining up in an I formation and with two tight ends and one wide out anymore. Just go a little more 3 receiver sets. So I believe if you really go back to when Lane Kiffin was there, that's when they started to open it up. Guys started saying, hey, you know what? We can go to Alabama, become first rounders because they're going to throw the ball around a little bit. And it's just taken off since then. And look at what you get. Henry Ruggs the third out, Jerry Jeudy out, and you just replaced them with Devontae Smith, who was the leader last year. But then you got Jalen Waddle and, like Coach said, John Mechie. So it's just like they keep circulating them in and out, the receivers, and they're doing a fantastic job. And then when you got quarterbacks like Tua was last year, and then obviously Mac Jones this season, guys who can really distribute the ball with accuracy and consistency, then it helps the process too.
All right, so I want an education. I want to get this from both of you guys. We'll start with Des, because what I hear fans in the SEC say all the time is that Big 12 can't play defense. But we're all seeing the alarming number of yards and points SEC defense has given up. I want to get both your thoughts on it. We'll start with Des. What's the difference between a good defense and a bad defense? Like, has the SEC forgotten how to play defense?
I don't think the SEC has forgotten how to play defense. I just think the defensive philosophies has yet to catch up to the offensive ingenuity of the conference. Like I said, now you got Lane Kiffin. He's going to bring a spread. You got Mississippi State with Mike Leach. He's bringing the air raid. So these are offenses that are going to run wide open. They're going to gain a lot of yards, and their purpose is generate a lot of points. So I think because of the philosophies offensively are starting to change, the defenses are going to have to catch up. That's why I believe the issue is at this point.
Coach?
I think Desmond is dead on. He mentioned when he was talking about Alabama's receivers that you don't see any I formation anymore. What that is it's 2 backs, a tight end, and 2 receivers. Maybe Desmond played in that type of offense. I used to play against it in college, but you just don't ever see that anymore. Offenses now are so unique. Every play has a run-pass option or maybe a zone read and then a run-pass option. They're able to spread the field. They create conflict for the defenses. They're just right now ahead of the defense in terms of being creative. And I think it all goes back to what type of quarterback you've had. You've got these versatile quarterbacks now that can really throw the ball. They can run the ball. They know how to distribute the ball. They have to make quick decisions and the right decisions very quickly, and they're doing so. And the pressure that they're able to put on defenses right now is incredible. I don't think that defenses are playing poorly. I don't think that the SEC defenses are no good anymore or lack talent. I think they have great talent. I think right now they're just behind schematically. Offensive coordinators have figured out how to get an extra blocker in the run game or create space in the pass game like they've never been able to do before.
I think what's interesting to me, guys, is that the Big 12 has been running a lot of these spread-type formations for a long time, and we presume that means the Big 12 defenses suck. And the fact is, like, maybe there's some middle ground on all of this we haven't discovered. Now, Stetson Bennett has obviously come out and had a lot of success. So, Coach, when you look at a guy like Stetson Bennett, what kind of success do you think he can have against Bama?
Well, Stetson Bennett has to do a couple things. Number one, he has to keep his poise in this game because it's a big pressure game, bigger than he's ever played in. He's going to be under pressure from the Alabama defense. He's got to continue to do a great job of taking care of the football. He cannot make poor decisions, throw into coverage, throw to the wrong guy, hold it too long in the pocket and get a sack, strip, fumble. He has to distribute to his playmakers like he's done, not try to do too much. And, of course, Georgia can help him by getting the run game going. Anytime you're able to get the run game going on offense, then it makes it a little bit more clear for your quarterback.
All right, so Des, let me ask you the realest question you're going to ever be asked about Stetson Bennett, all right? I'm watching last week, and they're talking about the fact that he wore like a postal service hat so he could stand out at quarterback camps, and as a result, his nickname's the mailman. That feels like a terrible nickname. So as a former player, is there ever been a spot for you in the locker room where you've looked at somebody and said, you, nickname, gotta change?
That's a great question. Off the cuff, I can't think of a person who had like a terrible nickname where I was like, hey, man, you got to change your nickname. But that's a really good question. But, I mean, off the cuff, I would have to say no. And if there was one, his nickname I couldn't mention on TV because this is a family show.
Oh, that's the see, that's why I love having you guys on. You got to either of you want to make a big prediction for the game. Des, I know you save your predictions for game day, so we won't make you do that. Coach, you got a prediction for this game?
Well, since Des is going to hold his for a few more hours here, I'm going to have to say Alabama wins this one. I just think that their defense is going to play much better than they played last week. That was unacceptable. It's not what we see from Alabama defenses, and they're not facing the same kind of offense. And number two, their offense is so potent, and Des talked about those receivers. When you give them just a little sliver of space, they make big things happen. They remind me, Des, of Kurt Warner, Oz Hakeem, Torrey Holt, Isaac Bruce, and the greatest show on turf.
Look, the best thing about having a pregame show to game day is that now I can do the ultimate tease. If you want to see Dez's pick, you got to check out game day. Gentlemen, have a great week. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. As always, we appreciate your expertise.
Thanks.
So we know the story of the week has been Alabama head coach Nick Saban's positive COVID-19 test. Tom Rinaldi broke down exactly what he has to do to return to the field and whether or not the outbreak has spread to the rest of the team.
Well, the world got to hear from Nick Saban directly last night via his radio show. It emanated from his home while he remains in self-isolation after testing positive for COVID on Wednesday. And Saban characterized himself as, quote, feeling great. He said he was asymptomatic and had no fever. There is a path for Saban to be back with his team come Saturday night for kickoff in the Titanic matchup against Georgia. That would be for him to test negative 3 consecutive days. He tested already on Thursday, awaiting those results. He's tested on Friday. His final test would be Saturday morning. And if those 3 were all to come back negative by NCAA and SEC protocol, Saban would be able to coach. Of equal importance, the tests that were given to the players and the staff on Thursday morning via SEC protocols have come back, and according to a team source, nothing would qualify as suggestive of any spread or outbreak that could be connected to Nick Saban or athletic director Greg Byrne. But right now, all eyes remain on Saban and whether he'll be here inside this stadium Saturday night.
Coming up on game day later on today at 9 a.m., you'll hear again from Tom Rinaldi with the latest on Coach Saban. He'll break down exactly how it will impact the game tonight. After that, at 9:45 a.m., Pat McAfee will bring out and absolutely drop the hammer while he shares his game day picks for this week.
It's one of my favorite things every week, by the way. The hammer,
I know, I was trying
the
not to
hammer in the
laugh.
suit. It's so well done.
At 10 a.m., SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey and Georgia head coach Kirby Smart will join the show, and they'll talk a little bit more about all of the things that we've seen going on in college football. Then, at 10:45 a.m., hear again from Tom Rinaldi, who will have an amazing story behind an 8-year-old asking Nick Saban, are you going to run Najee? That's really interesting. Excited to see about that.
Look, I've had the opportunity to interview Nick Saban. I'm just saying, it can get a little scary. So kudos to the 8-year-old kid.
I mean, an 8-year-old kid, I feel like he has no fear. Like an 8-year-old kid, you just walk up to whoever it is. It doesn't matter if it's Nick Saban.
You know who else has no fear? Mascots. You see that segue? Oh, that is professional there.
It is the 10-year anniversary of this amazing college football mascot moment, which honestly, I'm not going to lie, 10 years ago, I don't know what I was doing. I was a young child.
Oh, my God.
Wow. Then, so I didn't really know that much about this story.
Wow, 10 years ago, I was sitting on a tour bus, so I don't know, neither of us. But, by the way, you're watching Countdown to Game Day presented by Coke Zero, Christine Williamson, Jason Fitz. We're going to get you all the way up to Game Day. And, look, this was a big moment, and we decided that we'll tell you a little bit about it. But first, Christine, let's have some fun with our top 10 mascot moments. Take it away.
Absolutely so excited about this. I am afraid of mascots, but that's irrelevant. 2018, Chip the Buffalo shoots himself below the belt.
Oh!
Unsure if he did this on purpose, but he did it with a t-shirt gun. Very sad.
Wow. Dude, I don't know if mascots have no-no places, but I know that would not feel good if they do.
It's a human, so I would imagine that he does have a no-no place.
Wow, you had just totally destroyed so many people's imaginations. At number 9, Reveille from Texas A&M running away from their handler before the game. It's like, no, I will not do that unless you give me more biscuits. It's never the dog's fault, by the way. Never the dog's fault.
They're
but I do
always
love
good
that.
boys. They're always good boys. That's the thing with live mascots. It's what happens. They run away. 2002 at number 8, Seymour and Big Al fight on the sidelines. I mean, they obviously planned for this, right? Like, it doesn't look like an actual fight.
I don't know. See, it starts normal. Like, good fights always do. Big Al, by the way. Look at this.
See, that looks like they actually practiced this.
Why are you trying to, look, maybe it's like WWE. Like, it's just a little choreographed.
So
That's all I'm saying.
real.
All right, so let's take a look at number 7. One of Peruna's handlers can't keep up and get jugged. It's like, nope, you got to keep up. You're going to ask me to run, then you are going to run with me.
I mean, it's hard to run with just one arm holding onto the other thing, so I get that. 2008, this is number 6. Ralphie the Buffalo runs over a handler. I feel like that's worse than just falling while you run.
Yeah, no, that's definitely on you, though. Like, at that point, you just get out of the way. Like, just life rule. Number 1, Buffalo running at you. Number 2, stay out of the way. At number 5 on this list, Uga tries to bite Auburn wide receiver Robert Baker here.
This is my favorite thing.
Uga's like, no, get away.
He knew what was going on.
Hey, he was
like,
going for
get
the
off
no-no
my
places, too.
sideline, bruh. What you doing over here? You're not supposed to be over here.
Call
All right.
protecting the sidelines.
Number 4, 2018. This Oklahoma roughneck holds the flag despite
I remember
falling out of Schooner, and that is actually so incredibly impressive. He knows what his job is, and he's not going to let go of that flag.
There's just a level of pride and also embarrassment all at once. And number 3, this one was famous. We all remember it from 2019. Bevo in Texas charging up at Uga in the Sugar Bowl. Like, we can laugh about this now because everybody was fine. And as an animal lover, I got to make sure everybody knows this. Everybody was fine. That's why we can laugh about it now. I do love the cojones on the dog taking on a
That
bull.
is a scary sight. I'd be scared of Bevo in that moment. All right, Cosmo Cougar in 2007. This is my favorite thing because I mean, I can't dance like this. These are some solid moves.
Oh my God, no, this is epic, which tells you how good number 1 must be to even beat that. At the top of our list, the one we were referencing, Rufus the Bobcat, chasing down Brutus the Buckeye, not Brutus the Barber Beefcake, that's different. Pre-game, tackles and punches him in the eye, giving new meaning to dotting the I at Ohio State. See what we did there, dotting the I?
I like that.
I love how everybody's like just taking a knee and they're all having their moment too. And you got 2 mascots acting a fool. This feels like me and Mike Golick Jr. as we're sitting around trying to figure things out. And, that's fair. So those are our top 10.
That?
What?
You guys fight like that? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Casual.
Like fluffy mascots.
No
That's,
big deal.
Definitely. Okay, so for anyone that doesn't know the story, and this is a really interesting story, Brandon Henning was the Ohio mascot, and he's one of those guys that had just decided he hated Ohio State, and he hated Ohio State's mascot. So what he decided he was going to do was he was going to train for the opportunity just to beat up Brutus the Buckeye. Like, that was his whole motion. Like, this was a plan that was years in the making.
It's insane because he literally he was watching TV one day, decided he hated him, and decided then to become a mascot just so that he could have this specific moment. That is dedication.
I feel like I quote The Other Guys too much, which is an underrated movie, but it reminds me a little bit like when they figured out that Mark Wahlberg learned ballet just to troll an ex. Like, that's what you're doing here. You are dedicating a portion of your life just to this moment. And what's amazing is he dropped out of Ohio University 10 days before this, so he wasn't even really a student anymore, which means they couldn't punish him. There was nothing. Like, you already decided you were going to drop out. You just made your life dream happen. The only punishment is he had to stand on the sidelines in the mascot uniform for the rest of the day.
So I love the part about, because like we were watching plenty of mascot moments, and obviously some of those were choreographed, like we talked about. Brutus had no idea what was going on, and honestly, the whole entire time was just annoyed that this guy kept attacking him, and they didn't plan for this at all, so it was absolutely just unplanned.
I'm going to help you with your fear of mascots.
Okay.
All right, Christopher Guest makes all sorts of great movies, like, Waiting for Guffman, things like that. They're they're mockumentaries, right? He has one on Netflix called Mascots. You should check it out. He came to ESPN to promote it a few years ago. It is incredible, and it will change all of your fear of mascots. I'm here to help you.
I'm not sure I want to watch that. What I do want to watch, though, Alabama versus Georgia. Let's check out this big game sound.
It's been us in Alabama the last few years.
It's a tremendous opportunity facing the top team in the country.
Win or go home, really. That's what it feels like.
Winning lies within you. Najee Harris going to the end zone. Touchdown, Alabama.
He's extremely talented, physical. He runs with a purpose.
He can do it all. He can run routes. He can make you miss. He can run over you.
I know it's what we've all been waiting for. Here comes pressure. We got to get it. And the Dogs snuff out another.
Discipline. You see a lot of discipline from their players, and they play well together as a group.
Max has it. Throws. Touchdown, Alabama. How about that?
People don't include him in the mix. They always talk about the wide receivers or the running backs. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the SEC.
They're going to bring their A game. We're going to bring ours, and may the best man win.
For more on Alabama, Georgia, let's go to ESPN's Bill Connelly, who, by the way, has written an incredible article out on ESPN.com that's a deep dive into this matchup. Bill, we appreciate your time this morning as we get ready for the game of the day that everybody's talking about. What stands out to you about the matchup this year particularly?
I mean, I'd love to have a more creative answer, but we don't get many opportunities to see maybe the best offense in the country versus maybe the best defense in the country. And that really seems like what this matchup has taken shape when Alabama has the ball. Alabama is going deep, throwing the deep ball better than ever before. They're running the ball efficiently again. And Georgia had the best best defense in the country last year and almost returned everybody from last year's two deep. So it's an impressive matchup, and I'm not exactly sure how to figure out advantages there.
So you just mentioned it, Alabama throwing the deep ball. Mac Jones has been doing that. That's where a lot of his successes come from. How do you feel like that'll work against Georgia?
Well, you figure if anybody is going to be able to limit some of those deep shots, limit the receivers at the line and whatnot, it's going to be Georgia. They do have a very physical, very lanky secondary that can make life kind of hard. And, for most teams, most defenses they're going to face, going horizontally quite a bit and taking the deep shots on second and third and long is going to work. You might need a little more timing. You might need a little more of those 5, 6, 7-yard passes in this game. And that's the one area where we don't quite know if Mac Jones is elite, you could say.
All right, so, Bill, let's look at the other side of this. I mean, I expected Alabama's defense this year was going to be very good, especially at the linebacker position, getting some guys back and getting healthy from last year. I expected something great there. They have been absolutely worked at times this season. So can Georgia replicate some of the success against this Bama defense that other teams have had?
Yeah, some, I think. Ole Miss did a really, really nice job of manipulating the middle of the field, getting the safeties to make really hard choices and taking advantage over that middle area. But that's kind of where Georgia likes to throw, too. They're not going to take many deep shots. That is kind of a hindrance compared to what Ole Miss was doing. But if they can get Alabama's safeties to have to commit to a lot of different choices, make their life really hard, maybe you get something over the middle like that. This isn't the same offense, obviously, that Ole Miss runs, not even close. But you do figure they saw the film. They're going to try to do some things to make those safeties, to give those safeties really hard choices.
All right, let's talk about the college football season as a whole, because it's been crazy. We know Georgia is good. We know Alabama is good. Clemson, pretty good. After that, nobody really knows. Do you have an answer for that? Who's good after those three teams?
Yeah, you look at the preseason AP poll. I mean, the top three teams that have played so far, they've all looked the part. But after that, you have to go down to basically North Carolina and Notre Dame are the only two teams between about 5 and 20 who really actually have looked like they're interested in playing top 10 ball. So there have been some absences there. OU remains pretty high on the overall list because who else are you going to put there? Not Auburn, not LSU. So it does open up an opportunity for Big Ten teams, maybe a second Big Ten team, maybe clears the deck a little bit for an unbeaten Pac-12 team if that comes to pass. So it answers some questions there. But other than Notre Dame and North Carolina, there hasn't been anything there.
I mean, and Bill, are you really ready? Like, we've been talking about this on all of our digital shows across college football landscape. Like, I try and figure out who the 5 best teams are. Are we really ready to say that North Carolina, that hasn't always looked great this season, is maybe the 5th best team in the country right now?
I'm open to suggestions here. I do think Notre Dame has been very, very solid. Their line play is really good. Their run game is really physical and impressive this year. Ian Book hasn't had to do a whole lot yet. And so maybe they're the next team in that next tier. But North Carolina, granted, now they've got a chance to right a wrong from 23 years ago. They haven't played as a top 5 team since getting smashed by Florida State in 1997. So now they get a chance to avenge that at the very least. They have the same head coach, too.
All right, so you mentioned Oklahoma earlier. They're still, despite being 2-2, they're ranked in the top 10. Is that a statement about Oklahoma, or is that a statement about how bad the top 10 is this year so far?
Yeah, Oklahoma's not bad. Their offense isn't quite as good. The run game isn't quite as reliable, but they're still a solid team. They play good defense, or okay defense for 3 quarters at least. But no, it's a statement of everybody else. There's been an opportunity there for an Auburn, an opportunity for a Texas even. Nobody's really filled that gap. Oklahoma State has a chance to. They obviously started slowly against Tulsa, but if they looked apart from here on out, they've got a chance. But no, OU, it's pretty much process of elimination. Nobody else has really earned that spot, so OU gets to keep it a little longer.
I guess that makes sense. They're 2-2, but who knows what's going on in this college football season. A team that has not played yet, Ohio State, who knows how that will look, but you got them at number 1. What makes them so good?
Yeah, they were probably, from start to finish last year, they were probably the best team overall. Obviously, LSU finished the season the best team, but they're so talented, so deep at every position, and now they've got a whole lot of pieces back, even more than it looked like they were going to have after a couple opted out and then opted back in. So they have the depth of talent that Georgia, Alabama, Clemson have, and they have a lot of proven pieces too. So I don't have any problem. If those top 3 have looked the part so far, I'm going to assume Ohio State does too.
Bill, we're all hoping Ohio State does, because we need more good teams, man. We appreciate your time. Thanks so much for your expertise and joining us.
All right, Fitz. It is now time for Fitz's Game Pick.
Oh, don't just come in all
Coke Zero.
Don't come in all casual with that. Let me ask you something, Christine. Do you know how I did last week?
I know, and I'm really excited to say this just because I want to see you dance. You were 2-1 last week. This week, going into this week, now you're 6-3. I was really, curious to see what you were going to do.
You know what? McAfee's got his whole hammer.
Yeah.
I got the dance moves.
What is that dance called?
That was sort of the Running Man. Okay. Sort of the Running Man. Let's just go through the picks.
Let's go to the picks.
All right.
You got first, number 15, Auburn at South Carolina. That's at noon.
So we like to use food items to represent the picks, and so this one was easy for me. I couldn't actually eat a tiger, but we can eat animal crackers shaped like tigers, and I do love animal crackers. Look, South Carolina isn't very good, and Bo Nix always plays great when he's playing teams that aren't very good. So Auburn's going to win this game going away. Animal crackers in honor of tigers.
Who would want to eat a tiger? Also, we talked about this last week with the gator. Shouldn't you not eat the mascot if you want them to win?
You know what? Got all these rules for my picks. They're going pretty well.
All right, game 2, Ole Miss at Arkansas.
Okay, so again, we're going to go to food here. Actually, sort of drink. This is a throwback to my tour bus days, Red Solo Cup. You can put whatever you'd like in it. Maybe a delicious Coke Zero or a Hottie Toddy, because Ole Miss is going to roll all over Arkansas. Lane Kiffin's offense is going to get it done.
All right, I can get with that. I've never had a Hottie Toddy before, but I'm guessing it's delicious.
We got about 3 minutes before the show ends, and we'll try one. Okay, go ahead. Next.
It's a little early, but whatever. All right, game 3, Kentucky at number 18, Tennessee. What do we got?
Okay, so you might be confused. Why is there a big pile of tinfoil there?
Foil?
That's because steam subs, if you've ever been to Knoxville like I have, you know the delight of a quick steam sub. It's a thing. Tennessee's going to win this game big. They're going to rebound from their game against Georgia. They were sloppy. They could have been in that game better. They'll win the football game. Steam sub just for them.
So I just want you to explain to everybody that the bread is not wet, because that's disgusting.
No, it's a very quick steam, and they really only use like the meat and the cheese in it. So all of a sudden it makes it good and delightful. It melts in your mouth. It's perfection.
All right, quickly, no food for this one. Georgia at Alabama.
I'm picking the upset. Georgia's going to beat Alabama, and this has everything to do with the fact that I believe in Georgia's defense. I believe they're going to be able to hold the scoring down a little bit, which in the SEC is all it's going to take. So I am taking Georgia to pull off the upset.
I'm going to choose Alabama then. How about that? I just want to choose against you because then if you lose, then I win.
Wow. Well, then we won't count it. All right. What you should do is stick around, watch Game Day, hang out with them, hang out with us every single Saturday. Thanks so much for your time. Enjoy a Saturday of great football. It's been Countdown to College Game Day. She's Christine Williamson. I'm Jason Fitz. We're presented by Coke Zero.